Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for an FA Cup semi-final watch-along with myself, and here's Warren as well. How you doing, Warren?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad.
Here we go then.
Yeah. Oh, dear. But yeah, FA Cup watch-along between Leicester City and Southampton, literally to see who plays Chelsea in the final come the end of May. And yeah, I mean, we've got a bit more to talk about. There's some news that's obviously come out since more news of what's come out of this Arsenal and other clubs forming a European Super League. We've got to talk about that as well today. Yay! Oh dear! And this time they've gone behind UEFA's back, so even UEFA ain't involved in this one.
They can't leave well alone, can they? They just have to get richer and richer and richer. And
well, the information that's also come out as well, literally because it's the clubs themselves, it's just they're forming it themselves and they're fed up of it. But it's the rich looking after the rich. Look at the clubs that are involved: Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, United. That look down the road, even though they're not a fucking big club. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atleti. No German clubs, no Italian clubs so far, and
no German club, no Bayern.
No, at the moment, no. It's early stages, apparently. It's going to be announced tonight as it stands.
Just a small club, Bayern, aren't they? Yeah.
Oh, just that small club that wins the Champions League every now and then. Compared to Arsenal, they're fucking tiny. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. The thing is, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that as a sarcastically, but someone's going to take that the wrong way now.
So what does? Yeah, of course they will. There's always some snowflake on the internet who'll get upset at you, mate. What really gets me there, though, is you can see there, if Bayern aren't already participating in it, then it is all about the money. Because if you're going on what you've won,
I think PSG are involved as well, but it's Ramsey over more. But literally, in terms of who's going to be running the show, president-wise, the main president will be Real Madrid's main guy. He's running it, and then you've got 4 vice presidents, and guess who one of them 4 is? Our very own Super Stan Kroenke.
Oh,
Liverpool's owner is one of them.
Yeah.
Glazers or another one. I can't remember who the 4th one was.
Do you know? And I hate to see this, and I wish we weren't part of it, because what will happen is you'll now have a complete. We've got a fairly two-tier Champions League already. This will just make the gap between just massive. And when what will happen is that literally I'm worried that for 2 reasons. First of all, you'll then get these separated from everybody else, so that people will just go and watch what you might call next-tier football, rather than go and watch those. And that will cause a major rift, because the prices, if they're signing super deals for super money, then obviously they're not going to be the ones just taking it on the head, and they're going to be throwing that out there, and they're going to become more like exhibition games than proper football, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You've got to have Ajax and Bayern in there if you're going to have teams that are historically superb.
Ajax, Bayern, Inter Milan, AC Milan.
Yep.
You can even throw Lazio in there. I think that you're going. It depends how far you want to go back in history, but yeah,
exactly that. I mean, and this is the stupid nonsense, isn't it, of the expanding the Champions League, where they go, oh, so and so can finish 9th, but because of their history, they get in. Well, I'm sorry. What are we going to do? Should we go back and let Nottingham? I'll tell you what. Huddersfield were a top side back in the 30s for 3 years. Let's let them in and all. I mean, where do you end with this nonsense? It's just a complete joke to stop the poor little clubs getting in, and the bigger clubs obviously getting in. And it's just a money-making exercise. And I honestly believe, given some of the stuff that's gone on this season, and some of the ill feeling that's around various things, they could end up shooting themselves in the foot. I think, of course, football fans are going to want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's rumours coming out that if UEFA can't stop this going ahead, basically any players playing for the respective clubs that go ahead of this will not be allowed to play for their international teams going forward.
Side.
Yeah.
But basically, what you'll get is like when the
For
darts
example,
and the chess and everybody else.
yeah. For example, if it says in the chat, Saka won't
No,
be able to play for England, for example. No, Foden as well, Smith Rowe, in terms of English talent. But yeah,
how will players feel about that if they not? Because what they're really going to have to do is almost set up an independent football corporation, really.
Yeah, and basically, in terms of them players, the ones that from an English club's perspective, they'll be like, okay, you can go. We'll just spend X amount of millions on players that are from abroad that will quite happily play in a league where financially it'll help them out. They don't think like that. Hence why they're doing this. The fact they have actually gone behind UEFA's back this time, because the last time this came about, UEFA were pushing this forward as well. This time they're not, and UEFA have come out and as you said, saying what they're saying. So it's going to get messy. So the second they officially announce this,
where do we go here? Do we go super teams, totally separate entity, and it becomes like the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah.
Where they all play this game or whatever. And then do we get like our FA Cup final back? Their own league, so there won't be a Champions League. So we'll have then UEFA will have to have one to rival it. So that'll mean more clubs that are not super rich then suddenly get into that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not being funny. If say you lose Liverpool, Everton, Manchester United, Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, 7.
Yeah.
So suddenly there's 7 more places available. So 7 teams come up, like a concertina. But all of a sudden, you're getting the West Hams and the Aston Villas and everything, having the chance to win the trophies, go into Champions League and get rich from that. Let's not forget who made...
join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But will they? Will they?
Well, that's the thing. And also, the thing is, if this goes ahead as well, it's like, obviously the Premier League and Serie A, and obviously if Italian clubs do jump on board at some point, La Liga, whoever wins them domestic leagues going forward, when Madrid, Barca, Atleti, Arsenal, and all that, Man City, and all go to the Super League, the teams that remain and win that league, it means nothing, because there'll be people the people saying, well, hang on, you've won it, that's great, but would you have won it if this team was in it and that team was still in this league and this, that, and the other? It always put a sort of black mark against whoever wins the league from now on.
What do they do? Do they play each other like the Champions League, or do they play each other in their own domestic competitions, which you're only going to have Ajax at most and maybe Feyenoord, aren't you?
And PSV Eindhoven at a push, yeah.
So Ajax will play PSV 17 times. Unless, of course, you're going to have a 25 or 20 team division, and they're all going to play each other on a round robin basis like we do at the moment. But then don't you just get bored of that all the time?
Exactly. I mean,
how many times can you watch Man United play? So Man United play Barcelona, say. So say we get this breakaway league. So Man United play Barcelona home and away in the league. Then they play each other in the UEFA midweek cup. Then they play each other in the UEFA Cup League final. And then they play each other in the Champions Trophy for the teams. Who are they playing if they finish in the top 4? Who are they playing? Top 4 play each other for the Champions Trophy.
Basically, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me that lot.
So the European, if they make a European Cup, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they make a European Cup, it's completely useless.
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell. Oh my God.
How are you going to have a Champions League if they're already in the league?
No, it's just the Champions League is just, as I said, because it would be because as it stands, this Super League would be non-binary to UEFA, FIFA. That will still go ahead, but it'd just be for the teams that haven't joined the Super League yet.
Yeah.
That's it. And then that devalues the UEFA Champions League, because again, the teams that would not normally get in the Champions League getting it, have a chance of winning it, they win it, and they'll be like, oh, hang on, yeah, you've won it, fantastic. But at the same time, it's devalued, it's not be important anymore because all the big names that would usually be in it for the years gone by are no longer competing in it because they've set up their own identity now.
But when do you get, what I'm saying is, when do you get that crossover point where people go, hang on, I'm enjoying this more because we're going into Europe and playing sides like Feyenoord and stuff like that. Your normal supporters, like your Aston Villas and people like that, are going to go,
they'll enjoy. They'll get the kick out of it initially, but then it'll just get watered down because then once the more successful they become away from the Super League, they'll then get invited, and then their owners will get greedy, and then they'll. So it's just eventually it just waters down, and then literally it's just like fucking non-stop every day of the year, European Super League basically.
But when you get that Super League, right, and other teams start to become
bigger,
successful. So say Aston Villa, who have a history of winning the European Cup. So say they win it 3 years in a row. They then get invited into the Super League.
That's what I'm saying.
And inside 40 years, you suddenly have another 30 teams in the Super League.
Yeah. And then you've got somehow condensed that down to a league season, this, that, and the other. It's like, for fuck's sake.
So then before you know it, you've got 2 European Super League divisions.
Yeah. Yeah, the ultimate European Super League, and then for example, Championship version of European Super League. Yeah. European Super League, fuck you now.
Has been.
Literally.
Not quite so famous.
Yeah.
They're not quite so famous Division 2 of the European.
And then give it
versus Bohemian.
Yeah, and then another 10, 15 years down the line from that, there'll be a third tier of that league, of that European Super League as well. Exactly. It'll keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah. And what you'll get then is a disconnect with the fans as well.
Yeah, as well.
You have to say, it's okay, some people have plenty of money. Quite a lot of people don't have the money to travel to Barcelona on a Monday night or Ajax on a Wednesday evening. Do you know what I mean? Fantastic to go to the Camp Nou or whatever, or you know, go to the Bay Arena to go and watch a match there. But how many people actually can afford to do that every week? And it's just going to end up being a spectator sport, isn't it? On the telly.
And it's going to be vice versa as well with the fans from abroad as well. They're going to get like, well, hang on, because there'll be fans from abroad that won't be able to afford it either, coming this way either. So literally, it's going to become like we've been pretty familiar to what we've had to go through this season. So of actually being able to go to games, we'll have to be here, sitting at home watching it. Yeah,
exactly that. And is that what they want in the end? Is that what they want? Because let's face it, I'm not being funny, but this season, because you're not allowed fans in the stadium, has been absolutely shit. It's shit. It's shit. The whole season's shit because you can't have fans in there, and the fans are what make it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't want to be hearing the coaches effing and jeffing on the sidelines. I want to be in the in the stands, singing the songs and getting the atmosphere. I mean, you tell me any game that you thoroughly enjoyed for atmosphere, even when that lot down the road did Man United 6-1, which was probably one of the bigger results. Yeah. That would have been a huge thing had there been fans there. Is what I'm saying. As it was, so and so, they won 6-1. Oh bloody hell! You know, not like there was no buzz about it, no real buzz. You know, when you get a freak result. When we got duffed over by Villa, there would have been all sorts of ructions about that. Everybody reduced to going on YouTube and complaining how crap we were. You know, no real interaction with the fans and the players. So then you get that disconnect, don't you? It isn't good.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to get messy before it gets it. It ain't going to get better. And again, it's like Jonathan said earlier on in the chat. It's embarrassing that we support these clubs that are spearheading this. Yeah.
I don't know about you, mate, but that does my nothing. I don't like it at all. You?
No. I never wanted it for the last I'm 32 this year. For most of my life, it's been this European Super League has been brought up in conversation how many fucking times? Never wanted it.
No, I've absolutely no interest in it whatsoever.
We got
Hello,
Tony Mills. How are you both? Hope you're, we're not too bad. Obviously, we're a bit disappointed with the result earlier. We're just literally, as you know, as you can tell, we're talking about this big breaking news. It's not officially confirmed. Obviously, it's got apparently any moment now in the next few hours, the next couple of hours or so, officially it'll be put out there that we're forming this European Super League, and it will come into effect as of the end of next season. And all that, and it's going to get messy. It's going to get all messy. Going to fucking UEFA taking most of the clubs to fucking court.
Yeah,
and
of course
FA as well.
And then they'll be kicked out as well. And then are the games then sanctioned to play in your own stadiums?
That as well, yeah. And who owns the rights to this? And that's another thing they've got to sort out. They're going to do this independently this time round, as it stands.
Yeah.
From what they've got to figure out fairly between them how they actually run the show, basically.
Because unless they're giving a huge backhander to the Football Association, they'll be booted out of there.
Obviously, you've then got to get refs. You've got to get refs on board as officials. They're sitting on board, get them trained up to, and have everyone sing off the same hymn sheet in terms of what's off.
Exactly
all the rules of the game, this, that, and the other, what's a handball, what's not a handball, this, that, and the other, what's a foul, what's not a foul, and all that palaver. You've got all that to deal with as well. There's a lot. Where you
getting a rest from?
Exactly.
Where are you getting a rest from?
Don't come to England.
there'll be pariahs and there'll be outcasts. The refs who then leave the Football Association or the Referees Association to take the dirty cash, as it were.
Yeah. And Frank is spot on as well. We mentioned this before. Most of the clubs spearheading this are look who's going to be the president of this setup. The Real Madrid president, basically. He's going to be the top figure of this. And then underneath him, you've got vice president. Got four vice presidents. One of them I can't remember at the moment. Stan's going to be one of them. The Glazers are the other. And Liverpool's Henry, the Liverpool owner, he's the other vice president underneath the main guy. So in that in itself, I think Roman might be the other vice president actually, Chelsea's owner. And that in itself says it all. They're all multi-billionaires for fuck's sake. The only name in terms of ownership hasn't cropped up yet is Man City's where he's going to be. Well, because it's a consortium, where their headlines and all this, what's their involvement? Because obviously, apart from putting Man City forward, surely they've got to have more involvement than just putting their club forward into this, and that's worrying itself. Because so
if you get kicked out of the Football Association, you don't have licenses for this and licenses for that.
And also the European Super League as well. It'll be a league form, so we won't be competing in our domestic leagues anymore. It'll be just this European Super League. All the clubs at the moment and others go up against each other every week or whatever, every match day instead. How does it work? How's the league itself going to work? Is it going to say like they're doing? Is it going to be like whoever finishes first is the champions, or is it going to be your top four end of the season have a playoff? And whoever then gets to the final and wins that final wins the title, and also relegation and things like that. If a team if you finish bottom, is there a consequence of finishing bottom of the league and think this? Oh my God, there's got
none at all because you're a club with history, and we all know that wherever you finish don't matter as long as you've got money.
But you know what I'm saying. There's so much that I don't think they haven't thought. They've just thought about ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, they haven't thought it through at all. No. And then you've got to look. I mean, you're also looking at
there's also
whether or not.
Yeah, sorry. Also, this could backfire. Go ahead, as I said, they haven't thought about it. The worst case scenario, they haven't thought about all this. They force it through. They go ahead. It fails. Then the respective clubs are then with the tails between their legs, going back to the respective FAs of England, Spain, and whatever.
Yeah, you're no longer a football club under the FA, so you'll have to form a new club and start in Division 12.
Yeah. Please take us back. And most of them be like, no. apart from actually Man City and Chelsea, could bung them a few quid.
Yeah.
All the ones that can't.
What you'll have to do, mate, is they'll have to literally. You can see it. They'll do a Rangers with them.
Yeah.
And they'll shove them in the lowest possible league to teach them a lesson.
Oh yeah.
And you'll have the idiotic thing of playing Hales-Ho in town with a crowd of 35,000.
Yeah, literally, they'll use every single one that goes ahead of this if it backfires, and as I said, come back with their tails between their legs and go, okay, yeah, we're gonna make an example of you. Piss off down to the lower tiers, make your way up. See you in 20 years' time if you're lucky enough.
They'll get a severe kicking, and of course by then their money will start to dwindle. You know, their money will start to dwindle because obviously they're not. You know, you're not going to. Are you going to turn up? Let me put it this way: if it goes silly, so say, can you travel to Ajax on a Wednesday night, and then can you go to Benfica away on the Saturday, and then the following week you're away in Turkey against Galatasaray? Okay, and then let's take this to the nth degree. The week after that, you're at home. And then we're taking this to the nth degree now, 10 years down the line after the Super League, because you're gonna have to do something to reinvent the wheel. So in 10 years' time, will you have enough money to be able to travel to Argentina for the match against Boca Juniors when they make it a world league eventually, which is where they will head?
Of course, it will eventually, yeah.
Because they'll want one of the Saudi Arabian teams in there and one of the Russian teams.
And American teams as well.
Yeah,
obviously American owners.
Yep.
Oh dear.
And it won't be too long before one of them gets in there. You know, LA Galaxy or New York Bulls or whatever.
Yeah. And obviously, LA, obviously the new LAFC and all that. Because look who owns LAFC, Will Ferrell.
Yep.
So they're going to want some of. An actor of that ilk owns a football club. Get him in.
So let's go 25 years down the line where everybody's bored shitless with it, and the clubs go and it falls apart because there's all internal bickering and this, that, and the other, and they all go back to their respective leagues and go, take us back. And they go, no, you'll have to form a new club. All that history wiped out, gone.
Yeah.
Right? Because Rangers are Rangers, but you know. I'm not, you know, they have brand new, they have brand names and a global following. But how many people are going to follow it? If you know, do you honestly want to watch Manchester United? I mean, all right, World Club Championship, fine, but I don't want to watch them
week in, week out.
Yeah, you go to Boca Juniors, you know, and there's an English team in the sweltering heat playing, and we never do well, sweltering heat. And getting battered because I think you know Saudi Arabia is going to be a nightmare. But you look at where we're going to go with this, and then eventually the clubs come back with their tails between their legs, and so you get then dumped into, say, I don't know, the Conference South. If you're Arsenal, right? In you go into the Conference South. You've been very naughty. We're sticking you in the Conference South or the South Mids Prem, right? Are you turning up to watch the Arsenal side that's on multi hundreds of thousands of pounds go and spank the postman from Rill 17-21-0? Are you paying 90 quid to watch that?
No.
Not in a million years, are you?
No.
I mean, these people haven't brought it through. Don't get me wrong, they'll make a ton of money for a while. They'll make an absolute fortune for a while, but they'll destroy it.
I say for the first 12 to 18 months, there'll be that initial bump, and then for them, financially, and then suddenly it just goes, and it'll be like no different to what it is now, basically.
Yeah.
Tony Mills in the chat saying they're dangling a golden carrot in their faces, so our greedy owner backs it. It's bribery in my eyes.
Absolutely. But they'll, of course, it'll be awash with money for a while, and maybe for 10, maybe 15, 20 years. But eventually what will happen is when you start to disenfranchise the people who pay your wages by coming to watch it, so you'll have one set of stream where people pay to watch it on TV. But how much more are you going to pay? How much more are you going to pay? Because they obviously want more money, That's why the new Super League. They don't feel they have enough money, so they want more money. So therefore, you're going to be asked to pay more money to watch this stuff on television.
Yeah, I mean, as well,
that's a given.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands, Arsenal itself, from an Arsenal perspective, we are the most expensive season tickets in Europe. Full stop.
Yep.
So if this goes ahead, that price is going to go up even tenfold, because their excuse will be, well, hang on, we're playing against the best of the best now every week. Come on, pay up.
See, exactly. And I'm not being funny. When you have Arsenal versus Tottenham, it's an event. When it's Arsenal versus Barcelona, that's an event. It's happening every bloody year, 4 times a year. So you get Barcelona twice, home and away, and then you get them in the whatever cup they have, and then maybe they have a divisional league for cups, where you qualify sort of like the UEFA Europa League, and then you happen to bump into them in that league, and then you bump into them again in the semi-finals, and then you bump into them in the European Champions. So you end up playing them 6 times, and the joy of getting a big club in a draw is completely lost. It's a common event.
Well, Gary Neville's apparently hit out with Devar's Timmy's opinion, and considering Man United are one of the clubs involved here as well, one of the 6 Premier League clubs. Yeah. And the thing is, they've announced, us, them, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. So they've basically leaked out all 6 basically.
Yeah.
He's basically said, he says all the clubs from obviously talking about Premier League clubs should be banned by the governing by the Premier League and governing bodies, and have their titles that have won over the years, Premier League and obviously Division 1, taken off them.
Yep. Because you're no longer a member of the FA. So you're what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for a couple of Royal Engineers.
Yeah.
Disbanded.
Yeah.
Yeah, your name stays on. You won the trophy back in there, but they've got no rights to enter the competition anymore.
Yeah. But basically, he's saying basically, for example, Man United's 21 league titles, or was it 21? All taken wiped out. No, they wouldn't have any league titles. Liverpool, their 19 league titles wiped out. Our 13 wiped out. Tottenham's 1 or 2, whatever it is, wiped out. Chelsea's, I think now, how many they've got? 8, something like that. Wiped out.
Everton's wiped out. They won a few back in the day.
Yeah, that's if Everton jump on board, which they eventually will do, but at this moment in time, Man City's titles that they've won recently, including this season's, wiped out.
Yep. Aston Villa and West Brom will be the 2 biggest clubs in Britain.
Fucking.
It will be Midlands clubs because they've won all the early games, all the early trophies, because it was mainly North West and Midland teams.
Yeah.
So the likes of West Bromwich Albion, Aston Villa, Stoke City,
Forest as well. Nottingham Forest, because obviously they're European pedigree as well.
Great shout in the comments there.
Yeah, Colonel on the board in the chat says, hope clubs get banned from everything.
Nothing to do with the Football Association anymore, so move them on.
If they go ahead of this, and if they actually officially confirm this, all the clubs involved that have been leaked out, then even if that's saying that, again, I'm an Arsenal fan, and my club's involved in this, and I'm saying, fuck it.
Yep.
Consequence. And maybe then the greedy owner that we have currently can fuck off.
Because I'm not being funny, mate. Where this goes is a real slippery slope. So then you ban the players. Okay?
Yeah.
So then you ban the players and from playing for their international countries, because obviously they're not part of FIFA. So they no longer play for their country. And then you'll get Super League internationals.
Yeah.
Where and eventually players will just move from our league up into the Super League, because they'll be offered ridiculous wages and they won't be able to turn it down.
Yep.
But once they do, they're sort of moving into a white elephant. How long before people just go, and how many people, if they do this to our game of football, would just go, tell you what, I'm not paying to watch them. I'll go and watch Fulham down the road.
Yeah.
How long before people do that?
Fulham's, QPRs, all the London clubs, Charlton Athletics.
They turn around to me and they go, I've got to pay eventually $19.99 to watch Arsenal play. I have been playing. I'll just chuck it. I'll listen to it on the radio.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit of a bugger if I'm paying that sort of money. And then suddenly there's no money.
Exactly.
Frankie's right. They win the league every year, but there's challenges there, and there's contests within contests.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, I'm lost for words. I mean, Frankie in the chat is also saying PSG generally wins the French league every year. Bayern Munich every year. Barcelona, Real Madrid every year. Once in a blue moon, they've had to go pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
Juventus recently every year. I mean, I mean, that
gets a little boring, doesn't it, Frankie? So then what happens is you start to look forward to the knockout phases of the Champions League. Not the first one, because it's just, the group stage is just a money-making exercise.
Yeah.
But you start to look at these two legs and go, wow, that's going to be an event. PSG have got Barcelona or PSG have got Real Madrid, because whoever's winning the leagues has become a little boring. But if PSG are playing Barcelona 6 times in a season, that becomes boring, is my point. If Real Madrid are playing Manchester United 6 times in a year, it loses all the mystique. All the, wow, this would be a cracking game. Oh, yeah, what happened the last 5 times they met? It just becomes commonplace.
Yeah.
And commonplace doesn't give you anything to really lift you. And we can all, well done. We can all go back to being Woolwich up.
Yeah, exactly. It's good, that massive shout. And Tony, one sec, computer. Tony agrees in the chat as well. Great shout, says. And then we've got Joe as well to join us in the chat. Says Europa League, Conference League, and now this. Yeah.
Yeah, you can stick your Europa League, Conference League up your backside as far as I'm
since even when it was just rumours, it wasn't even confirmed that that's going to come into equation next season. I was like, no. If they want a third competition, European Cup competition, go back to what you go back and bring back the European Cup Winners' Cup competition that they scrapped at the turn of the century.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring that back. Bring that back.
We'll put all the little clubs in that, and have it as a straight knockout. But also, right from no leagues, straight knockout.
Yeah. Well, it's also being what it was, including the title, European Cup Winners' Cup. It gives these, like, for example, the FA Cup, the League Cup here in England, and also Copa del Rey and all that, and the other domestic cups throughout Europe. Something to strive for the lower clubs. They actually can put their first teams out straight from the off and actually try to win it.
Don't get me wrong. When I was a kid, you used to have some weird results in the European Cup. But you also had some in the Cup Winners' Cup. I remember Chelsea playing a team called Eunice Hartridge or something from bloody Luxembourg, who were a Luxembourg champion. And they beat them 21-0 on aggregate. It was 11-0 in the first leg and 10-0 in the second. But why shouldn't they have their day in the sun? For those players who played in that game from Luxembourg, it's probably the greatest night of their lives. Why should you deny that? And then the mistake goes, doesn't it? So Blackpool have drawn, let's say, let's go somebody really, Merthyr Tydfil. I've drawn. Are you going to watch the Europa Conference League when Merthyr Tydfil are playing Tom Penter? Or they're playing FC Midtjylland. I mean, nobody's going to have any interest in them games whatsoever. And here's the other thing as well: the mystique of the FA Cup utterly disappears. Then, utterly ruins the FA Cup.
Yeah, completely.
Because
100%
suddenly,
nailed on.
Hale in town can't get Manchester United in the third round.
They can't get Spurs. We can't get the Arsenals. Can't get Liverpool's, the Chelsea's. And here the big clubs, the ones that are bringing the money from, they got a home tie against them or whatever, or away game.
I think it'll backfire. Terrible.
Because the law's not there for the end, and also it also backfires because then the law is not there for the likes of the BBC and BT Sport as here in the UK to go, oh, what a tie! We can help this club out. Obviously, they've got this tie, but you know what? We can a bit more extra money because obviously going to cover it on our TV broadcast channel. So then suddenly he's just getting not even that anymore, not even getting the odd cup tie, the proper cup tie.
I'll tell you what it does give as well. Because the Football League then have tied most of their games into Sky and stuff like that. So then the Football League are going to go.
Well, also, what happens to the women, obviously, in terms of women's game as well? Because obviously, WSL recently confirmed that Sky are going to are taking full, between them and BBC are taking full coverage of the WSL from that season. But if, obviously, with the and that's tied into the FA. Slight problem here, I'm thinking, because if the men's side of it push forward this European Super League bollocks, you know what's going to happen to the women's game then. It'll be like, well,
yeah, they'll want the same thing. You had that Megan Rapinoe, didn't you, or Rapinoe or whatever her name is.
I can't pronounce that, but I know you're on about it,
Yeah, old Rapinoe. The one who bats for the other side with the pink hair. She turned around and went, she's turning around and going, oh, we need to get paid the same as the men and this, that and the other. No, because it's one of them consumer sports where the money you bring in is what you're entitled out of it. If there's nobody watching the bloody thing, you don't get the money. But there'll be all that, won't they? Because they'll be going, oh, no, equal rights, equal pay, this, that and the other. No, it's a driven sport on what you bring in. You know, how much revenue it generates is what you get paid. And what really gets me about them as well, because she'll be going, if they're having a Super League, we should have a Super League. Here's the thing that really gets me with this, Ryan, is when they go and play for the USA national side, they get all their insurances and everything paid by the American Football Federation. They get all their doctors' fees, everything like that, flights, everything all paid for them.
Yeah.
The male players do not. If they don't show up or if they don't come, they don't get a bean. And all their insurances and everything else and all the rest of it, that's all paid for by the clubs who employ them. So they don't get a bean very, very much off the United States Football Federation anyway. And the women, obviously not by amount, but by what is done for them, get far better taken care of than the men. But if they have a women's, then the Women's Super League is going to go, whoa, we need a Women's European Super League now.
And they'll join forces with the powers that be in the women's game, like the Lyons, the Bayern Munich, the Barcelonas, the Atleticos, etc. again. But in the meantime, until that happens, there could be dire until that actually comes along that bit. There'll be in the short term, straight aftermath will be consequences to them and their game, because they'll be if anything, they'll be the ones that get punished by the FA and all that, because they'll be like, well, hang on, the actual club, but the club itself is gone elsewhere. No, you're not part of the FA anymore. You've got to re-register as a new brand if you want to continue under.
Yeah. So your Woolwich Arsenal, your Newton Heath, whatever, but they'll basically have to do what Wimbledon and MK Dons did.
Yeah.
They have to register as a new club. And I don't think the fans would ever forgive them if they did that. It might seem a good idea for a while, but the proper fans, the people who genuinely can see the pitfalls of this, know that this is a terrible idea. It's not even like it's an okay idea or it might work. No, it's a terrible idea. It's absolutely awful.
Well, yeah, and also you notice that how they didn't approach this time round either. Celtic and Rangers got European history as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And why is that? Because they haven't.
Maybe they'll get a bit of that back when the other teams all bugger off to the Super League. Maybe Celtic and Rangers will get some of that back. But then they'll just come and pilfer players, won't they? And come and pilfer managers and stuff like that. But how many people, and then eventually you'll get a few people going, no, we're making a stand here. But
exactly.
If people don't watch it, there's no money for it. Look at Major League Baseball and the basketball over in America. They're all starting to get very political, very bang. They're losing money hand over fist.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, revenues are falling through the floor, and the TV companies are starting to take the hit. And they're going, there's not going to be so much money next year because nobody's watching. when you make something, doesn't matter whether it's political or I mean, this is fairly, or a money-making scheme. Once you make it difficult, once you start pissing the punters off, and they start reacting, it's all about the money. But if there is no money, then what happens then? I'm not saying there won't be. There probably will be. You always, you get the people. Then you're going, oh, I won't pay that for Sky, but they pay it.
But
I mean, I don't. I have a Now TV pass when I want to use it. You know what I mean? When I want to watch something really important.
There's also when back in, for example, this season when the Premier League and all that, the Premier League clubs came together and thought it was a smart idea to, partway through the season, suddenly try and charge us, what was it, nearly 20 quid for a game of football. And I didn't do it.
No, they floated it out. If it was on out to the punters, and they went, nah.
If there was an Arsenal game on this Sky Sports box office as they did it, I went onto a website and typed it, put it all in. It was already there. I'm not going to say which website, because that website will be closed down by them. And also, I mean, Joe said jokingly, call up UEFA for the idea. They're watching us. I mean, literally last week, my first leg watch along got bloody he got taken off by UEFA because I showed the bloody highlight thing. Oh,
wow! Yeah, there is.
Basically, so I had to adjust that for that to continue to get views and put out there, basically.
Yeah, I mean, some of the censorship that's going on in YouTube and Twitter and Facebook is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, it's especially I've been following that the old Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. Sorry, do apologise.
Be careful.
Yeah. A certain person who used to date Johnny Depp or used to be married to Johnny Depp, and I've been watching that and all the stuff that's coming out about that, and the amount of people making videos on YouTube that can't actually mention
her name.
Various things. Yeah. Oh, unbelievable.
If you say her name, Warner Brothers come after you. The irony.
Yeah.
When it's actually when they when they're going through the court stuff over here in the UK, their court trial here, and they go the amount of stuff that was coming out that was actually proving that actually he was actually defending himself. It was her instigating the issue. And it got to a point where he had to defend himself. He's been, since that court's been that ruling's been made, he's obviously appealing it now as we speak, because straight away he's been getting dropped left, right, and centre, and she's doing work with the company.
Well, I'm not being funny. You know how spurious that story is. I mean, when the judge is Dan Wotton's wife's next door, Dan Wotton's wife's next door neighbour.
Exactly.
Oh, no conflict of interest there, Your Honour.
Yeah, not at all.
And I mean, now they've released the body cam footage that shows that the place wasn't tracked at all. It's like
exactly.
Anyway, we better get off this subject before we
because they watch. We definitely get watched, even if it isn't fucking based on them. They make sure everything's going, because if you do, you're in trouble basically, and you get shut down and cancelled.
I mean, it's amazing. Like the other day, I got a 24-hour ban on Twitter, and all I did was say I was popping up the road to get some fags. Literally, and of course, in America. One of my mates, one of my mates actually said he was going outside to smoke a fag and got banned for 30 days. Of course, it's a totally different connotation.
Here
it's we go and spark up a cigarette. A totally different thing to smoke a. The connotation smoking a fag over there is completely different. So he got 30 days.
Literally, and again. Social media side of it, they're shit hot on that. But it comes to racism and people and players getting racially abused. That's okay. No problem. Okay, no worries.
Nothing at all, is it? Nothing at all.
Ridiculous.
And you've got that. And here's a thing for you. And this is something else you're going to have to think about when you go to the Super League. Yeah, there are certain sections of certain clubs that will probably be in the Super League that have a history in that area.
Yep. Say no more.
Yeah.
Allegedly, by the way, all allegedly on Facebook,
Yeah.
on Twitter, on YouTube now.
Well, not allegedly. They have got history, but
Oh,
I'm not
no,
going to name.
Fucking hell.
And
Name
you
me
and
no
them will
names,
be-
but do your digging,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And
but
I'm
this
not
game is-
being funny, mate, but that will rear its ugly head without a doubt.
Hmm.
You know, the more times you
Yeah.
are playing them, they always say, was it Bob Oak who said familiarity breeds contempt? And that's the trouble as well when you start playing each other 6 times a season, the big clubs.
Yeah.
Familiarity breeds contempt. Soon they'll get
Yeah.
bored with it. They won't put in the performances.
Yeah.
As a player, right, so I am being funny, Ryan, as a player, you're getting into you've just come back from an injury and you're now playing PSG in the semi-final of the Champions League. Okay, so you are bang up for that, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
It's the 6th time you've played them this season. Don't know whether I'm bothered.
No. It was like when we what was it?
Imagine having fucking
7
Mbappe running at you for 6th time this year.
Yeah, fucking hell, don't. 17. When we won the league, that season we went. Last time we won the league in 03-04, we played Middlesbrough twice in the league, twice in the League Cup because we played in the semi-final and in the FA Cup. Because it was so, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, just get. Can you just give someone else to play for fuck's sake? Because it's just got bored. Because apart from the one game out of all that, we basically beat them. I think the first leg. I think now. Yeah, the first leg we lost in the League Cup 1-0, and then drew the second leg 1-1. They went through 2-1 on aggregate. But in the FA Cup we battered them 4-1. League we bet them 4-0 away and 4-0 in the league. It's just again it gets repetitive, especially when you're on either side of the coin. You get bored of it because it's either you get bored of it constantly being the same, like winning. Like, okay, there's no real challenge here. And on the other side, you're getting bored because you're just getting battered. And it's like, what's the point of turning up today, basically?
Yeah, exactly that. And you look at, you look at the Europa League next year. Are you actually going to, can you actually give a bollocks about watching Atalanta versus Helsingborg next season? Are you going to be tuning in for that?
No.
On a Tuesday night in the middle of December when you
no, not enough
Atalanta
money
versus Helsingborg. There's a non-miss. Got to go and watch that.
Yeah,
who we got this?
Yeah, exactly. Not enough money in the world. Not even a sponsorship could get me to do that. Thank you very much.
Sparta Rotterdam versus FC Cluj. Oh, great! Can't wait. When are we doing the watch along for that one, right?
In a year, never, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be an utter joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if they expand it next season, I mean, we won't be in it unless we win the cup. But if they then do it into a league and there's 7 or 8 teams in that league, are we really going to do, Arsenal versus Bohemians? It's like, it's bad enough now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Europa League is bad enough now with the group stage.
Oh, don't. It does my head in. It drives me.
I can't get at all enthused about the Europa League group stage.
No.
It's like a wall of death. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's like literally like watching paint dry. No pun intended to Tottenham fans. No, it's just. I mean, especially this. I mean, for us, even though it was great to see us win all the games in the group stage, it's just like we expected to win it in that sense.
Yeah.
Even with our beating, like we proved, there was no real challenge there. The only challenge we sort of got is from the knockouts onwards, from the first knockout round, with Benfica, Olympiacos, and then Slavia slightly, and then now we got Villarreal. That's like, I think it's interesting nearly when it comes in terms of knockout.
That's why I used to love the old Cup Winners' Cup, like you were saying earlier, and the old European Cup, because sometimes you can end up going to bloody Moscow in the middle of winter and getting duffed over 3-0. And then the second leg, you had to play out your skins, and it made for exciting matches. I know, you even get dead rubbers now in the Champions League, don't you? Where, I don't know, Real Madrid are playing Cluj. Real Madrid have already got 13 points. Cluj have got none. I mean, where's the point in that?
Yeah.
There's none, is there? Yet, do you know the genuine excitement? like the FA Cup, when you get drawn out of a hat in the. I remember the year Liverpool played Nottingham Forest in the first bloody round.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. And you know what? Those two games were sensational.
Yeah, and I've always loved the FA Cup because of that. And literally, what was it?
Yeah.
The year we went in 2014, we had Spurs, North London Derby, first round we took part in it, that third round. Yeah. We had Spurs, then we got Coventry, but then we had Liverpool at home, Everton. Obviously, doing. I'm trying to think now. We had Wigan, the cup holders of Wigan, and then obviously the final itself whole. But along the way, and even going further back from a non-Arsenal perspective, in terms of the final itself, you usually get Coventry City in the final against Spurs or Wimbledon, what it was then against Liverpool, and they both them teams that I mentioned, Coventry and Wimbledon, were going to win. They had a chance. They were going to win. Yeah. I mean, it used to be. You'd have the chance to get to the final, even if you was in, like, for example, now the Championship or League One, like the old Division 1, old Division 2, whatever. Well,
look at when they played Man United in 2004. Man United won, so they're going in the Champions League. Millwall went in the Europa. Yeah,
and then what was it? I'm trying to think now. Sunderland, when they won it, well before my time.
Yeah,
they were like, and Southampton, who we're playing now, by the way. They were in Division.
Southampton in '76. I remember the Sunderland game. I watched it.
They were in the lower leagues when they got to the final.
Yeah,
they weren't in the top flight.
Sunderland had no chance. Leeds were the ultra dominant team at the time.
Yeah,
1973. I'll never forget it. And there was, I think Sunderland were 100-1 in the bookies.
Yeah, something like that.
I was only 11. I was only 11, and I remember it to this day. Ian Porterfield's goal and that brilliant double save from Montgomery from Peter Lorimer and Trevor Cherry. But you just go and always remember Bob Stokoe at the end running across in his pork pie hat or his trilby or whatever, running across in his raincoat, running across to hug all these players.
Yeah,
it was the most incredible result. I don't think there'll ever be one like that again.
I mean, Ipswich under Bobby Robson.
Yeah.
Watford when Elton John owned the club.
Yes. Yep.
And things like that.
Yeah.
You had that magic, that law, even in the final. It looked over that whole competition. There's just them little ties you would never see that team play that team, but in the cup, in the FA Cup, it happens somehow. It's a sort of and even then, there's always a chance of the underdog upsetting the apple cart and knocking out the favourite.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look at that time we got duffed over by Wrexham.
Oh God, don't remind me, Jesus.
And we had hell of a side. It wasn't like we played. We didn't play nobodies in that game, did we?
No, we played at full strength. David Seaman, a lot. Smith,
and the best of luck to him. Now, why should you not have those moments? I mean, I go back further. Hereford, when Newcastle had Malcolm McDonald and people like that playing for him. Hereford knocking them out with an absolute screamer from about 30 odd yards.
There's two screamers there.
Yeah.
And both times the fans run on the pitch and things like that. Again, it's them moments throughout the competition's history that have made the FA Cup what it has become.
Yeah.
But it's all been if this European Super League does go ahead and they do pursue going ahead of this, even after the backlash they're facing in the last few hours.
I think eventually, even though the big clubs will be gone, there'll be other big clubs that will then replace them. Villa will become a big club, and other people will become big clubs, and it'll level out the playing field quite a bit, I would have thought.
Yeah, but like we said earlier at the start of the stream, as soon as they start becoming big names here and domestically, like winning the Premier League and this, that, and the other, and having a chance to compete in the Champions League itself, because we won't be allowed to be in it because obviously we're doing our own thing. Then we'll. As soon as they start winning, like, for example, as you said, 2-3 Champions League titles in a row, a couple of league titles, this, that, and the other, and make a name for themselves, they'll be approached, and then they'll get greedy, and then they'll come and join us. And then the next team, and the next team.
But here's the thing here. If you know you can't represent your country at a World Cup, money versus that, and also knowing that if your club goes up, it's never going to be allowed back in. And if it goes horribly wrong,
Because let's face it, if you're Birmingham City,
It depends on
and you
how.
win the,
Yeah, but
and you win the Prem a couple of
yeah.
times,
But,
and you
also,
suddenly go up to that level, and you keep losing.
but
I mean,
also,
nobody's going to turn up to your game.
yeah, it sort of does depend as well, and it does depend as well as how successful this goes on to be. Because if it's a stinker, and it's just been approached because they're doing well, and it's like trying to rebrand the European Super League, try and get the excitement back, then it won't work.
See, the Premier League was all, and they package it well and everything else. The Premier League was sold as this huge, exciting thing, and but they tried to do it. They tried to do it with the Championship, and it didn't work.
No, that's because obviously it used to be Division 1 and all that. They rebranded it to the Championship to make it more exciting, glamified and all that, and it just hasn't worked that way.
But if you can't go, here's where they haven't done their thinking. Are you then going to pay? Maybe the tickets will go up to £200-300 a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So you can't afford to take the family unless you've got a lot of money.
Yeah. So Megovic.
Yeah. So all of a sudden the crowds dwindle. People are not going to pay. People suddenly. I mean, you will get the idiots who don't want to pay £25 a game to watch it on TV. And then people start drifting towards what they call their second clubs. Oh, I'll go and watch. I'll go and watch Millwall this week. I'll go and watch. I'll go and watch Lincoln City or West Ham, QPRs. Or, your QPRs, your Crystal Palaces.
Yeah.
And suddenly, because they're getting the crowds and they're getting the money from the TV deals, because people are interested to watch it, see who's going to win. Maybe we can, and what Frankie's saying there, and I think is absolutely key. I think we'll start drifting back towards more traditional football. Where the players, and I don't think the fans will allow the teams then to become so blasé about their own teams. Do you know what I mean? And so disrespectful of the fan base.
Yeah.
Because I'm not being funny, mate. If Arsenal bugger off to a Super League, and everybody that's in that Super League gets banned, and this, that, and the other, and they start a club up called Woolwich Arsenal, going back to the roots with a badge and everything like that, and playing in the old song, I'll turn up and watch. I'll pay me tenner and watch.
Exactly.
I'm not going to pay £4,000 to travel out to Argentina to watch them play Boca Juniors and possibly get a bullet in the head because I'm English.
But yeah, Brownie, thank you in the chat. So he says Premier League has a global following and branding. The Championship and lower leagues don't, and that's the thing. The Premier League itself, there's a reason why the Championship teams in the Championship want to do everything they can to get in the Premier League and stay in it because of the as it is a global following.
Premier League will then
and branding.
Premier League will then have more Championship teams in it, which will become Premier League.
Yeah, and then the Championship become the League One will become Championship basically.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. There'll just be a whole new shuffle, like there was obviously in the early after the Premier League was pretty much formed after a decade or so, and they had a little shuffle around the names of what is the Championship now was called Division 1 up till 2002, 2003, something like that.
But
it was division, up till then, it was Division 1, and then it was Division 2 and Division 3. Then you had the conference. Now it's, as I said, Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, then conference. But with this coming along, that we brand it again. So then you have the Premier League, Championship, but the League, what Championship will be the League, what the League 1 is, and things like that. It'll be like League 1 and then conference and things like that. It'll get messy before it gets any better for everyone.
Don't forget, mate. Don't forget that. Yes, they'll rebrand this, that, and the other. Well said, Chad.
Yeah.
They'll rebrand it, and this, that, and the other. But what is also waiting in the wings for them is the fact that people will just go, I don't know whether I like this. Now there'll be a lot of money at first for it, but things become old hat, and you can't. The reason football's always been so successful, it's been quite a simple thing to follow in terms of two teams go out there and they battle hard against each other, and it before all of this unbelievable awash with money thing, And there is a real groundswell of people out there, like was just said there in the chat, real groundswell of people out there going, well, I quite like going to watch the game down the road on a Saturday or a Sunday. And it's starting to drift that way.
Yeah.
And they want to be very, very careful, all the big clubs. Because I think once you go, I think so many of the national league associations will never forgive you. I don't think the FA will ever forgive any of the teams that bugger off to the Super League. I really don't. Because by the time they want to come back, all the packages will be Stoke City and Aston Villa, and they'll all be the big club. And they go, we don't need you. I mean, say for instance, Ryan, here's a for instance. So, let's think of a club that went out of existence a while back. Name me a club that went out of existence a while back.
Last year. Who was it last year?
Bury,
that's it.
Right. So they've got a wonderful history, right? They come back with 200 million. We want to come back in the Football League. Where do you think they're starting?
Exactly.
I mean, you're talking possibly 8th tier, aren't you? Even if they've got 500 million, they're going to have to start in tier 8.
Yeah.
You know. So what makes them think? And Bury haven't done anything wrong.
No,
apart from pay the bill.
But that was down to the owner, the previous owner. It was nothing to do with the actual structure.
When you get the Manchester Uniteds of this world who are already living in huge debt. I mean, they're mortgaged to the eyeballs.
Yeah, in terms of the game, it's half time, by the way. It's 0-0, nothing exciting. It's been pretty scrappy, to be honest. Nothing what I'm about, really. Great to see fans in there, don't get me wrong, but the game itself has been dire. You wouldn't think there's just do or die for a cup final against Chelsea.
Crap. They're so frightened to make a mistake, nobody wants to do anything.
Yeah, that's why it looks so cagey. Even Leicester as a whole, I mean, they've gone full strength like Jamie Vardy and all that, and the players that were dropped last week are now in the team today. But like you said, they're frightened to make the mistake. It's that bad. Yeah. The game's been that bad. We haven't actually spoken about going up to this point because of that. We've spent the entire hours talking about the Super League situation.
All sorts of different topics. Yeah, I'll be back. I'm going into the garden for a cigarette, and I'll be back after I've made a coffee.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Cheers. I was putting my mute because there's no echo in the background, and he comes back and him off mute. But yeah. Big up yourself, Peter, as well. I don't see you before, so if you're new to the channel, do subscribe and do smash that like button. But yeah, I said this earlier in the previous watch-along I did earlier for the Arsenal game. At the end, we were talking to Warren before we signed off. I said, whoever wins it, I mean, not whoever wins it, I mean, whoever wins wanted Chelsea to win yesterday because it gives them more of a chance to win the FA Cup final instead of, because like we saw a couple of years back when Man City got to the final, Watford got there and Watford got torn to pieces, so they don't want to repeat of that. They want a chance. They don't get to the finals just to make up the numbers. They want a genuine chance to win the FA Cup. And with Chelsea in the final, for all the form they're in at the moment, you've always got a chance against Chelsea this season. More of a chance than you would have against City. Let's put it that way. And to be honest, out of the two, I don't mind who goes through today because I'll back them to win the FA Cup. I want the underdog to do well. It'd be nice to actually see, especially from if Southampton was to get to the final, Southampton win the FA Cup for the first time in 30 plus years, however long it's been. Well, before my time anyway. So that you got that as well. I mean, it's just but yeah, I do want the game to improve a bit because it has been a bit dire to the point, as I said, until you've come in. We've just literally been talking about the news that's broke today about the European Super League, latest news anyway, and how that's going to affect. Got pretty in depth as well, very in depth, but how it's going to be. It could backfire. It will backfire either way, but how it could backfire if the interest is then gets lost in this, that, and the other. They all come back with their tails between their legs to their respective domestic leagues like for us, for example, for the English teams, the English FA or the Spanish teams in La Liga. They're making an example of us. They won't let us back in. They'll go, "Oh, you want to come back to England, compete in the English leagues or whatever? You got to work your way up from the bottom tier of the football league, all the way up. Off you go. See you in 20 odd years, even to the likes of City and all that, just to make an example out of us. So to make sure we don't do it again, or no one else has that idea of doing it again." Oh dear, who else we got? We've got, thank you as well. It says some football clubs outgrow their league. Example, PSG. Furthermore, the reason with lots of PSG have outgrown their league is because of the consortium that bought the club and made them what they are now. Because it's just boring. It's repetitive. It's just apart from once in a blue moon, like when Monaco won it a couple of years back, and it looks like they might not win it this season. Every other season since this consortium has come in and took over PSG, they win the league at a landslide 9 times out of 10. And it gets, as I said, they outgrow it. It's because of that. Because it's not competitive enough. No one else in that league is competitive enough to the level of what they are, because they don't have the financial firepower that they have. So hence why, of course, they would be interested. They're going to be interested and want to do this because it would make it more interesting for them. More interesting for them in the sense of it's not a guarantee they'll win the European Super League. They've got other big clubs, and if they do win it, they've won it against the best of the best, basically, in their eyes. The best teams in Europe. They don't have to play the minnow teams, this, that, and the other. My interest in what happens for the rest of the season has just crossed to the point where I now don't care now. Winning Europa League means nothing now. Well, with this news, that's rammed it home, really, yeah. Oh, dear. The thing is, because this time they've gone against working with UEFA, because the last time this news surfaced, back in the summer, I think, last year, UEFA was involved and was teaming up with the clubs to form a European Super League back then. But now it's like, they're basically forming their own identity, basically, and basically not involved in FIFA or UEFA or anything. They're going to do their own. They want to do their own thing now. The clubs. It's again, like, I don't know if Jonathan's still in the chat as well, Cheddars, but because I support one of the clubs that are involved, it makes me embarrassed because of who's involved. It makes you embarrassed to support that club and ashamed because of what they're doing to the game. Oh dear. Oh, bloody hell, that sounds damn too clever. Oh, God. But on to the second half. In terms of the game itself, guys, hoping the second half's a bit better than what we've had to go through here. I doubt it. Got to be a goal, obviously. Mark, big up Mark in the chat. Also, big up to your other half. I bet your other half is ecstatic because Rangers won 2-0 in the Scottish FA. I think it's Scottish FA Cup, isn't it? 4th round against Celtic. So another old firm derby. Rangers have won this season. Okay, now. So basically, that's Rangers. Now Celtic out the way. It's Rangers' cup to lose. Basically, it's in their hands respectively because they'll be the red hot favourites now. But yeah, I've not seen it. I've heard it. I literally did come up on my phone and I read out the quotes that he put out there, but I haven't watched it just yet. But I will be watching it later. Oh, if I could have faith that Sky Sports or the Premier League wouldn't try and shut this stream down or whatever, I'd put it up for everyone to watch. We could watch it together, but I don't trust them because it's Premier League for fuck's sake, and it's what it is. It's Sky Sports as well. Even I'm giving them more coverage and getting their content more out there as well. Yeah, they won't like that. All right.
So the old Celtic boys will be crying tonight then.
Oh yeah. What was it?
So stay up there. They'll be greeting. So we've got
John Joe Kenny scored the second goal, an own goal as well, which killed the game.
Wow. Because we've got a Rangers and a Celtic fan at work, and they were lumping each other on Friday, absolutely lumping each other. One drives a forklift and the other's on one of the production lines, and they were shouting at each other all day.
Yes, yeah, it was 2-0 in the end, and also Atletico won earlier on today as well. They won 5-0 in their La Liga match against Elba, however you pronounce it. Second half's under the way, by the way, so we will keep a close eye on this as well, obviously. Oh, bloody, Neil, almost a fuck up there.
I hope it's first half. Dear God, semi-finals are never good things, though.
Maybe, yeah, I get that, but as I was saying, I would have thought, knowing that obviously City didn't get through this time, that there's a chance whoever wins this tie could actually have a chance of winning the cup in general, because it's Chelsea. It's more chance of winning it than they would with City, as we said earlier at the end of the last stream. It ain't going to be another Watford revisited, basically, sort of situation. You think that they'll both go for it. They haven't really gone for it. Neither keeper's really been tested to that at all, really. So,
that's right. I'm not being funny. Did
you see back what Henderson did earlier in the first few seconds of the game? He comes fucking flying out.
Which part of that did he think he was going to win?
Oh, fucking hell. Keane didn't hold back either. De Gea must be thinking, what am I on the bench for? What have I done wrong? Why is this guy ahead of me?
Absolutely brainless, especially against someone like Chris Wood. If you're up against, Rob Holding, maybe, you've got a chance you're going to get there and win it.
Yeah, as he said, but if you're up against a physical unit like Chris Wood is, don't do that. Stay in the line. You're going to say the ball comes to you anyway. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and there's every chance you're going to stop the header. You've certainly got more chance of doing that than you have. It was like I always remember the Everton goal with Andy Gray in the cup final against Watford. The goalkeeper. Yeah. I was trying to think. Was it Sherwood? Comes rushing out of his goal and tries to beat Andy Gray to the header, and it just loops over him into the net. It's like you were never going to win that. Not against Tim. And it's goalkeepers sometimes have those mad moments, don't they, where they just all of a sudden they have it's almost like a brain fart and away they go. Hello, have you disappeared off the mic? And you do as a goalkeeper sometimes you make those silly errors, and it's like, wow. I think your mic's muted, Ryan. Can you hear anything? Are you there? I'll just keep talking until I know my mic's on. I think Ryan might have switched his off. So if you are out there in the chat, let us know what you think about the Super League, because I think it'll be the death of some clubs, to be honest. Really do. Ryan's talking away there. It's either me, I can't hear anybody, or other people can. I'll wave at him.
No, sorry, brother.
Oh, you're back.
Yes, yeah. My brother was talking to me, and I was just informing him on the update and all that. Yeah, informing him on the update and all that. And
hello, ladies and boys.
Go away, go on. Oh dear, no, he's just got back from work, so I was just updating him on the latest news and the Super League thing, and basically how UEFA have been excluded from the negotiations of this going forward, which has pissed them off a bit, just a bit.
There's going to be some severe kickings for clubs that join this Super League.
I think, as Mark mentioned, obviously what we mentioned before, he's come up and reinforced it. Basically, he's Gary Neville slagged us, Liverpool United, off big time. Said we should be not just have a league title. I didn't see this bit. League titles taken off us, but relegate them, all three of us as well. Relegate us to whatever league, whatever. Make us have to work our way back up this, that, and the other. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if this falls through, there's going to be major consequences for everyone.
If you've signed up to it, and I mean, you don't know what the legal ramifications are, do you? You don't know if you've signed up to something that is legally binding to stay with. You know, obviously, be a wash with lawyers. But what I can't understand, if you're going to be a wash with lawyers like that, why aren't we spending the money on the bloody on the club and improving the team rather than on lawyers trying to battle to get us into the Super League?
Yeah. We've got a comment here that says the winner of this game will definitely end up in this year's Emirates Cup Runners Cup. Jesus Christ, Runners Up. End up this year's
Emirates Runners Up Cup.
Yeah, that is for sure. The way they're playing, yeah. Gee, I mean, as I said, both teams have gone for it at full strength, respectively for their teams. But they're not in terms of lineup wise, but actually in terms of the actual game itself. It's very like they're on. Both teams are on edge. They know that one goal goes in, it's sort of curtains basically.
Yeah, they're so frightened of making a mistake, they're not going to make anything.
Yeah, and you know what, this could drag out and go all the way. Depends the way this has panned out so far. Yeah,
you can see it going. It's either going to be a last-minute slip up, isn't it, or a bit of genius. It's a weird thing. Remembering back, you know, I seem to remember the semi-finals were much more good efforts.
Judges in chat saying the European Super League is such a bad idea. UEFA looks like the good guy. Yeah, because they're not involved in it this time, like they were last time. This surfaced.
Yeah, Cheddars is spot on with that.
They're now not involved. They look like the good guy because they're saying, well, no, integrity of the game. They're repeating what the FA have already said, but basically, they're now made to look like the good guys in all this. When we know they're done, we all know the respective FAs throughout Europe and UEFA and FIFA are all dodgy, but this makes them look fucking brilliant now.
Because what will happen now is FIFA will go, let's slam them, and they'll pass that down to UEFA, and UEFA will go, time for a kicking. And what they'll do is they'll instruct all the FAs of the various countries to take action.
Well, it's like Frankie says in the chat here, Frankie's saying as well in the chat, he says, UEFA have pissed off the big clubs, and this is partly the big clubs responding to that. And I think what he's referring to is because of the last few years, I think now, 8-9 years, we've had Atletico, Barcelona, Chelsea, Man City, for example, all been held up by UEFA for financial fair play and things like that.
Yeah.
And been given respective bans or whatever. So this is like he's saying this is their sort of way of saying Q basically.
How dare you? Yeah, keep out of it. Yeah, we'll do what we want and there should be no regulations. It's basically what it is. It's the 16-year-old teenager who's starting to challenge the father, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm literally closing the door.
Yeah.
Open the jar a bit. No, Alfie's in the chat. Alfie's still there. Big up, Alfie. Saying, why are we in it? Well, basically, the reason we're in it because of the brand of what we are. The brand that was built up in the successful years under Wenger, in the sense of it made us a global club.
Brand. Yeah.
In that sense, in the success we had under Wenger in the early years, made us that, and we're still because of that. We are still that. So they want that law, and plus we're a London club as well, like Chelsea. They want that London club that has that sort of history and success.
They want metropolises in there, won't they?
Yeah,
and also they want their Milans in there.
And because another reason why as well, because we've been in European, because we've played European football for 25, nearly 30 years non-stop, either 20 odd years in Champions League, a few years now in the Europa League. Because it's like every year we've been in Europe. They want us in there for that reason because we have that history in European football anyway. Even though it's not great history, it's still history in our eyes.
Yeah, but here's another thing that people haven't thought about. So we've got the COVID situation going on at the moment, and some countries are in massive lockdown and some aren't. And everybody thinks it's going to go back to normal. However, here's where I have a bit of a problem. If you've got, say, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, now, we all know the dangers of travelling to those countries
in normal circumstances. In normal circumstances,
You're playing them every year. Jeez, Louise, I wouldn't want to go to Galatasaray every year if something's happened the previous year. Nah. You know, bad enough if you get drawn against them in a European competition, but if you're playing them every single season, the likelihood of something like that happening just expands beyond belief.
Yeah.
You know, look at the Leeds fans. What happened with them? You know.
Yeah.
You know, if Leeds United were to go back there,
all
that's going to come up, isn't it? Hi, Brownie.
1-0. Leicester City. So yeah, big up Brownie in the chat as well. But yeah, bit of a lucky, scrappy but lucky goal. Vardy cutting in and cutting the ball in. Shot initially got blocked by Ryan Bertrand, but it fell back into the feet of Iheanacho again, and he just put it in bottom corner. It's 1-0.
We might have a game now, Ryan.
Maybe, just maybe.
Yeah. Now someone scored. They've got to come out and play a bit of football now, aren't they?
Yeah. David, Brownie saying, David O'Leary once said that going to Ninian Park was worse than going to Galatasaray. If you say so. Oh my God!
Yeah, absolutely.
Prawn Brigade,
It will be the Prawn Brigade, and they might keep it alive for a while. But you know what? If it is, for instance, Frankie, I'm in Aylesbury, yeah. But if say MK Dons are down the road, and they're probably 10, 15 mile down the road, and if they're playing Aston Villa in the FA Cup, and the tickets are only 10 or 12 quid, I'll go and watch that.
Yeah,
I'll go and watch that. I am not going to travel to the Emirates to watch Arsenal play Fenerbahce and pay 300 quid for a ticket.
No,
I'm really not. It's just not going to happen. I've got better things to do with my money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody loves their football club, but there's a limit of where you pocket. It was like that idiot Rio Ferdinand, and if Rio Ferdinand, you know, if he does see this, absolutely fine. But the bloke's an absolute moron because he's going out wearing Mike Ashley's gear, right? Yep. So he's getting a backhander off him, and he has the temerity to turn round to the Newcastle fans and say, "Well, buy the club."
Buy yourself, basically.
Now I worked it out the other day. There's about 10,000 season tickets, right? Get sold every year at Newcastle. So Newcastle isn't. I've worked up there, lived up there. It's not a well-to-do place, okay? And the very idea that you think Newcastle fans can use £30,000 worth of their money, all 10,000 of them, and go and buy the club from Mike Ashley for 300 million. If they've all got £30,000 laying around, mate, you tell me where it's buried, because there's no way that 10,000 season ticket holders have got 30 grand each to go and buy a club. In what world do you live, you complete and utter idiot?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Mark, I think there's going to be. I don't know if there's been a penalty check or not, but Southampton are claiming for a handball. Let's have a look here. Oh, I don't know. They've been given. I've seen them given.
To 50-50 on that one.
Yeah.
And we go straight to all the laws of football, mate. In the opinion of the referee. Always in my pre-match chat there. Yeah. I know you've all got your opinions, fellas, and it's great down the pub and with your mates and with your missus and everything else. But in every single law of football, it says in the opinion of the referee. So we'll be going with that one today.
So, there is VAR in this, isn't there, as well? FA Cup at Wembley. I don't know if they're looking. I ain't got those sounds. I don't know if they're looking at it or not. I don't think they are.
No,
doesn't look like it.
Skim that one, haven't they?
But that I see again. Like I said, I've seen them given, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, if they could give that one today against Arsenal, they could give that.
Yeah, exactly. Consistency, guys.
That is an absolute shocker.
Oh yeah, but again, no coincidence. No coincidence that the last time Pawson refereed the game was against Wolves and between Wolves and Arsenal. I mean, during the Arsenal game, it was Wolves at Arsenal, and what happened? He gave a penalty.
Yeah. Well, I kid you not. At minimal contact.
Oh no, but I'm just saying. Literally, the next opportunity he gives a penalty away again. So for fuck's sake,
absolutely threw himself to the ground like there was a sniper in the stadium. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm yellow carding him for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm yellow carding him, and I'm giving a free kick to the defending team.
And the fact they had to go back when they went back to look at if it was offside or not, that's when I thought maybe they weren't going to give it because maybe they've seen something they could get away not booking him for diving or whatever because of that. But no,
I've never had any problem with booking a player for diving.
So until the Premier League referees that one. Because they seem to have a problem with that. Ricardo's going off by the looks of it for Leicester City, and Albrighton's going off. So he's changing formation here as well by the looks of it.
Going 5 at the back.
Yeah.
There's I think he's going to play. He's going to play 5-2-1-2. He likes doing that, Rogers.
Yeah. Especially now they're defending a lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the chat says this Super League is a lot like what darts did with BDO, the PDC. Where all the best left and BDO now cease to exist. Difference with football is the fans have more of a say. Well, you say that.
Yeah.
If that was the case, this wouldn't be happening.
Will do if people actually vote with their subscription money.
Yeah.
Not watch. That will be the thing that clatters them.
Yeah.
Because if you've got to, you've only got to look right. So, for instance, we've got it's a wash with football. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you look at what's happening in the basketball. Now that's a wash with money. You're talking really, really silly amounts of money per player. Yeah. And now because they went all woke, fans have been going, no, I just want to enjoy it. It doesn't matter which side of the spectrum you fall down on that one, by the way. What people are doing is going, I just want to watch my sport without having a message rammed down my throat.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like 90% of us. You know, you get 5% left wing, 5% right wing, let them get on with it. But don't have it, the vast majority of it, want politics out of sport. But the trouble is, because they've gone all woke like that, people are turning off in droves because they're tuning in to watch sport, not a party political broadcast. And it's one of them. They're turning off in droves, so the revenue isn't there. So the players that are all playing are now having to be backed up by Chinese companies, it's like, who have got tons and tons of money. But the actual watching streams have nosedived through the floor. I think it's something like the Major League Baseball. That's taken a big hit over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And suddenly, you're not talking silly numbers. I mean, when you start losing £90 million in a weekend through people who are not watching, it only takes a few weeks of that.
Well, so it's also fans not going to the stadium on a normal day or match day or whatever, and buying the merchandise from the stores.
Yeah, absolutely. It has a roll-on, knock-on effect to everything, doesn't it? Your hot dog sellers and your burger people, and and as you say, your memorabilia, your club shop doesn't start to do very well because people are just staying away. And then, of course, when it's plastered all over the telly, then people stop watching the telly. I've got many football fan friends who, the moment there's anything political, they just turn it off or they turn on to something else because they don't want that in their sport. By all means, there's a platform for all that sort of stuff. Use a proper platform.
Southampton actually pushes. It's the goal. The game's opened up a bit in Southampton. Actually,
I thought they might have to because I've got to say I think Hassan who all sort of went for possible penalties, but he's not above going for it when he has to, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
exactly. And to be fair, Southampton are unlucky so far not to be back in the game.
Unlike the Wunder kid, the Guardiola baby, who makes exactly the same substitutions when we're 3-0 down as he does when we're 3-0 up.
Same subs at the same time, no matter what. I still, going back to that game earlier, I don't get, with the news that's come out from Fabrizio Romano about Hector Bellerin, he's gone in at the end of the season, he is leaving. We're trying to get rid of the bastard.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, let's start him 24 hours later and give him the armband just to rub salt in the wound.
Look at Cheddar's comment in the
I'll get that in a sec. Yeah, I'll get that to a sec. But Cheddar's is saying, I hate when Hollywood sports try to lecture me about having privilege. You're a multi-millionaire. This is another thing that pisses me off. That pisses me off. It's literally all these celebrities that when they become famous or whatever, become big names, household names. they become the face of a charity, for example.
Yes.
And suddenly you see them on TV and they're like, give up your money. Like, hang on, you're multi-millionaires. Why don't you put your hand in your pocket for once?
Yeah, I mean, could you get that with the actors, Ryan, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, when they turn around to me and they go, just give me £3 for clean water a month. Well, I'll tell you what, Michael Sheen or Ewan McGregor, you put my £3 in for me since you get £22 million a movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. And literally, I'm like, hang on. Especially even more so in the last 12 months, with everything that's gone on as a global pandemic, basically. People like us don't have that fucking money in the first place. Let alone now. And you're still like, give us your money, give our charity your money. Fuck off. What was it as well? What that in the back of at the start of the first lockdown, you had the one that plays Wonder Woman and a few others come together, did a code.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, they did that bloody music, or basically that video thing.
Oh,
with
God,
sun
yes,
and all
they
that
did,
crap.
didn't they? Yeah.
It's so patronising as well. Look,
unbelievable, wasn't it?
And the way it was put together, it made in every shot, every one of it took part. There's like, aren't we such lovely people doing this for you peasants?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Let us help the peasants. And here's what really gets you about that as well.
John Wayne's in the chat, by the way.
And here's what really gets you about that as well. If they took that 22 million and they just got paid for that movie, they could probably totally revamp an entire area, an entire district. Instead of, coming to me and going £3 for clean water, build them a village with everything that they need.
Yeah, mosquito nets and everything. You'd be laughing. You'd actually end all the poverty. They'll come together, end poverty.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly that. And they don't do the numbers, Ryan. And
no,
there was a weird thing.
Because even though they sort of become the face of a certain charity, they don't want that charity to, obviously, that whatever that cause is, to come to an end. Because if that's the case, they'll do what we just said. Instead, they're coming to the Joe public and going, donate X amount a month. Hang on, if you can do it like that, why don't you just do it like that and be done with it? If you're that passionate about it, click your fingers, off you go. Why come to us?
Well, it's like the immigration thing, right? And now I don't have a dog in the fight, one way or the other, because obviously where my missus lives, and I'll be going to live there, so it doesn't really bother me. But what does is that people just don't get the numbers, and they're stupid. You get all these people going, oh, immigration, this, this, and the other, right? We should take in more immigrants. Right, okay. So let's do the numbers. Very, very simply, when you do the numbers, there are 600 million people in the world that live on less than $2 a day. Yeah? And we are, and by having children and all the rest of it, we are adding to those numbers around about 14 to 15 million people a year. Okay? Well, those 600 million are having around about 14, 15 million kids every year. Okay? By taking 1 million into Great Britain every year, at what point do you think you're even making the slightest dent in world poverty? Let's get the money together and help them there to build a better world where they live, rather than drag them here and just cream off the cream of the crop of the people who are educated. Because we'll quite happy take all the doctors and nurses as long as they're educated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Let's help them in their own countries and let's all grow together.
Yeah. Colonel question in chat says, when's the next quiz? Well, I am literally just waiting to hear back from Mike on that one. Once I hear back from him, I'm hoping to get one some point during one during this week, and obviously get it back up and running again, like it was before. It's just obviously since the last one, there's obviously been other bits. There's been stuff going off air, basically, as in personal stuff that's happened. I'm not going to go into who, what, and where, but hence why there's been a bit of a delay. But now we're sort of getting settled in terms of the football, as in game every 2-3 days, or whatever. Now it's all settling down. We're gonna. I spoke to him earlier. I was just waiting for him to come back and say, because obviously he's working as well. So it's just when he's available, we can set that up. But once I've confirmed it with him and we're ready to go on that, you guys will be the first one. I will put a community post out there. So do keep aware on that. I will put a community post out there when they return the first, not the first one, but the next quizzes, and that'll hopefully be this week. Coming, get the first one because Richard needs to win. Richard needs to win his trophy back from me. Good luck.
If you're dying for a quick quiz question, Colonel, here's one for you. Your team's got a corner. Your winger takes the corner, and he boots it all the way back to the goalkeeper, who's come up to the halfway line without him knowing, and the winds then carried the ball down into your own net from a corner. What do you give?
Goal. Frankie in the chat says supermarkets have to throw a lot of food away when it gets yeah, exactly. That's another thing. A lot of waste, even throughout this whole pandemic, there's been a lot of waste, this, that, and the other. It's just ridiculous. I mean, the amount of people as well was, as you know, living in the UK when this just on the spurs of COVID hitting the UK. Everyone started panic buying toilet rolls of all things, toilet rolls and all that, and pasta and bits and pieces. Couldn't get pasta for love of money.
Super funny, wasn't it? The toilet rolls.
Yeah, but it's just like the amount, especially in terms of the food stuff that must have been going to waste because there's just over buying it, and basically it's just got unless it was like pasta like bags you put obviously put in the wash thing or whatever, keep sealed or whatever. But the things that can obviously go off over an X amount of time, a lot of food waste is there as well. And it took a long time for the actual supermarkets to get on top of that and say, actually, no, you can only have X amount. Because again,
yeah. Well, we had one guy being a bit of a larrikin outside our local superstore, and he took a basket and put a load of dock leaves in there. He got a load of dock leaves outside, and he was selling them for 50 pence a time. Get your own personal toilet roll, 50 pence.
There you go. Piss off.
Brilliant. Oh, by the way, Colonel, the answer to that is you give a corner to the opposition, which you can't score an own goal from your own restart.
Walcott's coming on. Theo's about to come on. He's on the side. I was waiting to come on. Yep. He's coming on for number. I can't pronounce his name, but number 12 for Southampton. I'm not even going to try and pronounce because I don't want to offend anyone or get cancelled or anything like that.
Oh, mate, yeah. There'll be some SJW out there, won't there?
Oh yeah. This person on this podcast, this what's pronounce this person's name wrong. He's an absolute wrong. Get him off. Cancel him.
Talking of that, Ryan, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, mate, but I notice you haven't got your pronouns in your bios for winning.
Oh, dear.
I got asked for that when I went for the NHS jab. They actually asked me what gender I was, right? And I've probably got one of the deepest voices going.
Yeah.
So he said, I said, is there another box called other? He said, well, I've got to put something. I said, well, since you've asked me to do a damn full question, I turned around and said, I am a small I am going to put this down. And he went, seriously? I went, yeah. I'm a small mushroom married to a roundabout in Swindon. And the bloke had to type it in, so it's now in my medical record.
God.
I consider myself to be a small mushroom married to a roundabout in Swindon.
Jesus Christ.
If you don't ask a stupid full question, you won't get a stupid answer.
You've had both jobs now. Have you only had one?
No, I've had one, mate. I've got mine on. No, next one is on the 7th, I think it is. So there's me, AstraZeneca one. And
I had the Oxford one myself.
Yeah, I've got the Oxford AstraZeneca.
Yeah.
So our company's in bed with all 4 companies. We make all the boxes for the vaccine. So
I remember you saying that one. Yeah, I remember you saying that just before they actually did the rollout back in December. I think you mentioned it in the chat before. But
that's why I was so bloody busy.
So I think my second one. I've had my first one, but my second one, a 10-week one, because obviously you got to have it in a 12-week period from the first one to the second.
Yeah. I've got mine 7.
Yeah, I haven't been given my date yet, but literally, if I haven't heard back between that, obviously Dan and I'm trying to think now, the week before my birthday, and my birthday's on the 20th of May.
Oh,
I then have to call them up, not call them up, but call my GP and organise it myself.
like me, you had a bit of a reaction, didn't you, to your first one?
I'm trying to think. Maybe it was a bit of a drowsy on the third day. First 2 days was fine, no problem at all. Because I was literally, even in terms of on the way there, I popped into Greg's, got myself something to eat because I had like paracetamol, I had pain relief, paracetamol or whatever, and then I had sickness just in case I had a reaction there. I used to have something to bring up and not tear my stomach basically. But so yeah, I had sickness, and then Saturday, the day after, I did a watchalong. I was fine, but it wasn't great. But I was fine. It wasn't. But on the third day, it was the worst one because in terms of headache and all that, I had no headache. It was just literally, I just felt no matter what, I just felt nausea. Like I was gonna at some point, I was gonna just go. Ugh,
yeah,
I took anti-sickness. I'd taken anti-sickness and all that. It just it wouldn't have any effect. And then the third day it was a bit better, but not completely. And after that, it was fine.
I've got to say, when I had mine, I had mine about 8 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock the following morning, so during the middle of the night, suddenly woke up with a blinding headache and didn't feel right at all. And I had all the symptoms of flu, but without the bunged up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I turned around and said, "You ought to be cheese, Jedders." Very, very simply, I felt like somebody had pulled the plug out. I had no energy for about 2 or 3 days, and it was like just being completely wasted. So I was awake in my head, but my body was just didn't want to know.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think the second one. I'd be interested what happened to the second one. I needed to. I've seen other people literally. They've had their second jab now, but when they had their first jab and all, I was saying, "Oh, do this, and do that." As long as you keep on top of your anti-sickness or paracetamol, whatever pain relief, you should be fine. But you have to keep on top of it every 3 to 3.5 hours, maybe 4 at a push, depending on it.
Yeah, I was taking an extra to try and.
Yeah, basically, I've said that, and then literally, that's the first time around, and then literally the second time around, they go to have their second jab. They want to social media complain. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you're not doing what you did the first time. Then and they go, no, I'm not. Well, that's why you're bloody.
That's why you're not well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, the moment I had the jab, I started taking all the medication.
Yeah, but it just because when I had mine, what was with your one? Was you asked to wait for the 15-minute period and then you can go?
I wasn't asked to wait because I don't drive.
Oh, okay. I don't drive myself, but literally, I was told.
They tell you to wait. They tell you to wait 15 minutes in case you drive.
Oh, okay. But because I was told, well, everyone on the day I went, everyone, even if you were driving, they'll tell you that, oh, you can go if you want or you can stay. I did the 15 minutes just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to. Because obviously, wait for the bus, and I had to wait for the bus to go back into town anyway. Come back this way.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I'll wait, no problem. By the time I get out, the bus is due anyway, so it's no problem. If I have a reaction, I'm here. You did it, all that. So, but yeah, fine. As I said,
because I literally, because I work in the industry, I couldn't get time off. So basically, somebody was designated from work to take me, so that I could get my jab and then drive me back to work, so that I could carry on with my day.
And what if you'd had a reaction though? That's another question. If you'd had a bad turn,
that'd be one of them, mate. We'll bring your work to you.
Yeah. Okay, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, work from home.
Yeah. Yes. No, unfortunately, quite a few of our people do, but I'm not one of them, mate. I have to be there.
No, that's bizarre.
When you're in facilities, mate, anything and everything.
Yeah. So literally, again, I'm in the next week or week and a half, I'm getting myself ready because obviously the call is due at some point. And as I said, in the next couple of weeks. If not, I've got to call the GP myself and sort it out. because I did the 10th. That's the 10th week. So my 11th week will be my birthday week. So the 12th week will be obviously the week after. So I have to have it before the end of May.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm already in my head preparing, as in when to get the medication ready. So when it obviously does come along, I'm prepared and ready to go. I'm not risking it and getting called in and going, oh, by the way, I'm not ready. And then
I haven't got any. I haven't got any pills on hand or any cold remedies or anything like that. I must admit, when I had the first one, I kept on taking them now. But when I knew I was going to have the jab, I went out and bought these. You know, the old vitamins.
Yeah.
One's multivitamins and one's vitamin C. But it was just to keep. But I just kept taking them since then, just to try and help. I don't know whether it will do any good, but you know, they say the greatest number to the greatest good. It's the old yardstick, but there's never been a better one. So it's one of them. I've got to say, I'm not looking forward to the second one. Even though I work in the industry, I didn't want to have it. But if I want to go home, I want to see the missus, I want to see the kids. I've got no. If I want to travel down to Western-super-Mare, see my granddaughter, I've got no choice but to have it. You know, so one of them, bite the bullet, get it shoved in your arm, and get on with it. If I survive, I survive. I was sort of fairly fatalistic about it, you know.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
One of them.
I just want it to be over, but I know literally. I mean, I don't know if you've heard, but obviously there's this now this African variant apparently that's coming. Is it African? It was African or Indian variant of the virus. I can't remember which one it was. Well, it is now, but basically it's hitting big over wherever it is. And there's people obviously coming from that said country into the UK that live here. And they've been looking at. There's been 3 searches. Have been like whatever they put out there. Yeah. That the government put out North London and 2 in West London, trying to find people that have come in and contracted it.
The African variant, you get bigger ears. The Indian one, you get smaller one.
But basically, I think the people that doing these vaccines, all these companies are saying, if that variant is in the country, is in the UK now and takes hold, this vaccine we're having has no effect. It's just the variant overdoes it, and it's like, oh, what's the fucking point?
But it's always, you know, it's like that, and I'm not having that because it's all scaremongering for me. Because as far as I'm concerned, if I've had both the jabs, mate, once I've had both the jabs, I'm going back to normal. If you think I am going to be living like this for the next 2 years, while we develop vaccines for this variant and that variant, nah. I'll tell you what, because what will happen is, I'm 59 now, I'll be, by the time they got it all sorted out, I'll be 64, 65, if I get to live. And if my last 5 years have been locked down, that's no life. I'd rather, you know, take the jump.
Well, there is a way of getting hold of it and stopping these other variants from other countries coming to the respective countries. For example, here in the UK, shut everything down. Shut the country down in the sense of no one's flying in, no one's flying out, no matter what. Until we know globally it's dealt with and we can all move on.
That's what I loved about New Zealand, and they got absolutely panned for it. But the female prime minister there, she didn't muck about. She went, right, nobody in, nobody out. And they were all there Boxing Day at the Test match, all enjoying a beer on the bank, watching the Test match. Because they dealt with it. They were all sitting on the grass bank, everybody having a beer, no mask, because they'd gone nobody in and nobody out. And if you went out or you came in, you weren't allowed to go home and self-isolate. They took you straight to an isolation centre, 10 days. You have another test. If you're still clear, you can go home. Brilliant. And if we'd have been that tough right from the word go, and as for changing and stopping over and everything else, no, refuel the plane while the people are still on it and they can fly off. It's not difficult to police if you do it right. I know New Zealand's an island, but so are we, so we could do it right.
We're not even that big, much bigger than them as an island. We're pretty much the same size in that sense. May not seem it, but we are. But it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, got a few more minutes of this.
All these boats crossing the channel. All these boats crossing the channel. Don't turn them round. Turn them round. No, you don't. No, you don't. We're COVID free. We're going to be COVID free because once you isolate the entire country, because we're an island, you can then deal with anything that's inside it.
Yeah, that's what I said from day one. I mean, we're not even fucking in government for fuck's sake, and we're talking how it should be done from day one.
Yeah. So what you do is you shut it down until there's no COVID, and then you put those restrictions in place until the rest of the world's dealt with their COVID situation. When you come into the country, you'll go straight into 10 days isolation. Straight from the airport, you're going into a van and you're going into an isolation centre. You know what I mean? And you're 10 days there, and that one's 9 days, and they call it on the outside of the isolation centre. It's not difficult.
Keller's got hit a spot in the head as well. I'm expecting another lockdown myself. I'm expecting it because of, as he says here, seeing the stupidity these pubs doing, especially Wetherspoon, setting up a so-called beer garden in my area that overtakes the bus stop just to get money in and get more people in their pub.
And I've been funny, but none of these pubs would be struggling if we'd done it right the first time.
No.
Because after 2 months... After 2 months, blocking the country down, you could have identified all the people who were getting poorly with it, isolated all the people who had it, cure it, sort it out, done.
You know? I mean, talking of obviously the pub industry and all that, I don't know if you heard, but on their social media, the Tonington up by the Emirates.
Yeah.
They've had to set up a petition yesterday, basically to beg the government to help them out because, as it stands, their landlord, the person that actually owns the land of that pub, is demanding that the people that run it are actually working there to pay, was it £125,000 before the 1st of May this year? If they don't, they will be evicted, and that pub will no longer be.
Wow, you're not allowed to do that, surely.
Well, that's what they're trying to find. That's what they want. They want that assurance from the government that won't happen.
I thought that was all knocked on the head.
Well, apparently not. But that's what I'm trying. They're trying to set this petition. I'm trying to find it now on my end.
Scrupulous twat, isn't there? Trying to get something out of something.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh, dear.
You do have the stupidity of people, but if we'd have handled it right in the first time and cracked down on everybody.
Exactly. We've got an idiot running the country that pussyfoots around and tries to appease the people, trying to make out he's doing his best to hold off the lockdowns and things like that. This is the leader everyone voted in, by the way. I'm not out of the two options, neither was good. Let's be honest. Out of the two options, neither of them was good enough to be a sole leader. To be a sole leader, none of them were good. It should have been a coalition. But either way, this is a guy that was elected that as the virus is hitting the British shores and patients are in hospitals with COVID cases, he's going around in them hospitals PR-wise and shaking their hands and going on lots of this morning going, everything's fine, the virus is nothing. I'm in hospital shaking their hands,
Bang.
Yeah. And it almost killed him. It almost killed him as well. It almost killed him.
I mean, it was the lesser of two evils because at the end of the day, I think he's a bit of a clown. But the idea of Jeremy Corbyn and Diane Abbott getting power.
That's what I'm saying.
For God's sake.
Oh no.
Please. I mean, that's just something.
That's why I'll be honest. I was expecting a hung parliament, to be honest, because I thought it got, but for him to get as full power as he got, I was like, bloody hell.
I was concerned with it, but you know what? Here's a weird thing, and this is where the lunatics have taken over. Where I'm concerned with the Labour Party, I always thought Conservatives for the tops. Labour Party working class. Yeah. And I've voted Labour all my life. And when this election came round, I voted Conservative because I was petrified of what would happen if Labour got in. And that's the only reason I voted Conservative, because the Labour Party doesn't represent me at all anymore. It's nothing to do with me. It's got none of my interests at heart.
And now we've got Keir Starmer is trying to fucking rectify, like, fix the issues with that Corbyn put in place with the anti-Semitic, all that side. He's trying to fix all that and bring the party together and do this and do that, and whilst providing a highest level, as it stands, opposition party to the government.
Yeah,
so he's got so much to balance. Got 4 more minutes.
Here you go. The trouble is, you see, I don't trust him either, because he was the twat who let Jimmy Savile off.
Yeah.
And that's a particular issue around here, because obviously, you know, I live in Aylesbury. Stoke Mandeville Hospital is just down the road. Now, when we used to hear the rumours, because I used to work at the hospital for a while. Now, we never knew exactly what he was up to, but nurses used to walk into the other corridor whenever they see him coming down the corridor. Do you know what I mean? You had a north and a south corridor in the old building. They've got new buildings now. They used to have an old north and south corridor, and the nurses would avoid him like the plague. Now, that's got to tell you something.
There you go, then.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got 4 more minutes, by the way, of this dross. As it stands, unless Southampton score, it's 4 more minutes.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to get penalised. It's going to be a 95th minute scramble goal, which is going to go to VAR for about 7 minutes while they're sorting it out. Yeah. Eventually, they're going to allow the goal, so that's going to be 102 minutes. And then we're going to have another half an hour's worth of dross. And then we're going to have a penalty shootout, right? Then we're going to have a penalty shootout where it ends 1-1 after 5 penalties. Yeah. And then it's going to end up something like 14-13.
Jesus Christ, imagine. Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
The worst game, the only reason I'm saying that, Brian, the worst game I've ever been in part of. So I was over Holmer Green, which is not far from Wickham, and they were playing somebody in the cup. And this day, the ref was being assessed. I was on the line, and the assessor's there. And suddenly, half an hour before the game, the heavens have opened, and there's wind as well. It's freezing cold, almost horizontal rain. So for an hour and a half, we're getting absolutely soaked. Half time, we can't feel our finger. The referees give a penalty with about 3 minutes to go. Scores 2-2. So you can guess what was going through his mind, can't you? I'm not having another half an hour of this. Blew the whistle, penalty. The guy's missed a penalty. He's booted it miles over the bar. So we're all thoroughly teed off because it's now full time, and we are like ground rats. We're freezing cold. And it's gone to half an hour's more of dross. It ended up 2-2. It's gone to penalties. Penalty score 14-13.
Oh my God!
By the end of it, the assessor didn't come in because we couldn't actually feel our hands to be able to. He couldn't pick his hand to blow the whistle. It was that cold.
Jesus Christ! Oh dear! Even the fans, let's focus on the fans. Do we have to be here still? What I find bizarre is they've got some socially distanced and some on top of each other, which is bizarre.
Yeah. They're obviously related.
But even still, it's just bizarre. I mean, the gaps is like mad.
It's a South Coast thing.
We've got a few seconds left, about just over 40 seconds left. Way. I swear, fucking Southampton score, I'm going to cry. They won't score, but if they do.
You know what will happen. So somebody will chop somebody down 25 yards out and Ward Prowse will curl one in the corner.
And the thing is, if I hadn't done this watch along, this would be an absolute goal fest.
Yes. Yeah. 5-4 after extra time. Why the hell didn't you do a watch along right?
You absolute idiot. Yeah.
Sometimes, mate, to have a great time, you have to go through an awful lot. Was it? You have to kiss an awful lot of frogs to find your friend.
Well, fucking the 2 of them today. That's 2 out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we do spend an awful lot of time giving time to things that we can never have back.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes. There's an hour and a half of my life I can't have back again.
Yeah. Yeah. Full-time Leicester are through. FA Cup. Leicester
God.
City versus Chelsea. So who do we want to win it? Do we
Okay.
want Leicester to win it for the first time in their history, or do we want Chelsea to win it for the 9th time?
Yeah, no, it'd be nice for Leicester to win it. But because Leicester have been in the final so many times and not won it.
Yeah, I think it's been like 30 odd years since they were last in it. They didn't win it. Yeah.
61, 63.
Something
I
like
remember. I remember as a kid watching the 69 final when they lost 1-0 to Man City. Little young school. Peter Shilton was in goal for Leicester that day.
Oh, okay. I'm just a bit disappointed because I thought both teams would go at this today and they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the scrappy goal to win the game as well.
I think the actual final will be great. Chelsea, Leicester City.
I hope so. It can't be this bad. Jesus Christ.
So, Ryan, I've got a great quiz question for you.
All right. Oh.
Okay. So, name the player. I appeared in 4 FA Cup finals in 5 years.
Right.
Okay, that's your first one. That's your first bit of it. I appeared in 4 FA Cup finals in 5 years. I was only on the winning side once in all that time. In the 4 finals I appeared in, I was only on the winning side once. And when I did win the cup that one time, I was the person who scored the winning goal. Who am I?
Oh, bloody hell.
So he's appeared in 4 finals in 5 years, in a 5-year period.
Yeah. Well, it was.
He's been on the losing side 3 times.
Yeah.
And the one time he did win, he scored the winning goal.
How far back are we going? Because there's a team. I can't remember his name, but I can't.
60s and forward.
60s and forward. Okay, 60s and forward. So he's not going to be him. It can't be him now. He's pre-World War. 60s and forward. No, I've got a clue. Go on.
Okay, and as a club, Arsenal have a massive particular connection to this club. To this.
This player.
Well, no, to this question.
All right.
Would you like a clue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the 1 year he didn't win it was the year we won the double. The 1 year he didn't feature in the final was the year we won the double.
No.
I'll give you another 2 clues. If you need another clue, let me know.
Go on, yeah, go on.
Okay, the 100th FA Cup final at Wembley was the one. The 100th FA Cup final at Wembley was the one he scored it. Oh, sorry, the 100th FA Cup final, not the 100th one at Wembley. The 100th FA Cup final,
yeah,
was the one he scored the winner in. The only time he won an FA Cup winners' medal.
It's not bad.
Do you want your final clue?
Go on, yeah.
In the 100th FA Cup final, he scored the only goal of the game, and it was against us.
So it's against us. Okay, cool. Okay. Right.
So we won the double in 1971.
Yeah.
And the following year, in the final, he scored the only goal of the game against us in the 100th FA Cup final.
No, I can't now. Go on.
No, Alan Clark.
Oh, okay.
Right. He played in 69 for Leicester City against Manchester City.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in 1970 he played for Leeds against Chelsea, lost in that one. Then it was Arsenal-Liverpool 71.
Yeah.
Then he scored the winner against us in 1972.
Yeah.
And then he lost again with Leeds United against Sunderland in that famous FA Cup final in 1972.
Bloody hell.
Good little quiz question, that.
Yeah.
Okay. Alan Clark is the answer. 4 finals in 5 years, and the only time he won, he scored the winning.
There's a trend. There's a trend going back then that we are Father Christmas in football.
Well, no, because we won the double in the year that he didn't feature in the final, so we screwed up his 5th appearance, really.
Yeah.
I'm trying to rack my brains and think who knocked Leeds out that year. I think we did.
I think it was us. I double checked. I
think we knocked them out in 71. Because 72 was revenge, because that was the 100th FA Cup final.
Yeah. I think we did, because I got the video of the season review for that season.
Yeah.
I think we did play in the FA Cup. Yeah.
I think we dumped them 3-0 or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely out of the blue as well, because obviously Leeds were what they were and all that.
Yeah, I think Radford scored a couple. But yeah, that was. I always thought that was a quality quiz question. That.
Yeah, John's got in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, John. Good man. Hey, John knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, get him on for a quiz.
I always thought that was an incredibly tough quiz question, but John's just aced it.
Probably Googled it, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you know what? If you Google it, it's not an easy thing to find. It's not an easy thing to find. Like,
yeah. Well, seeing the villain not Adebayor, yeah. I think, that's saying something. Jesus, what Adebayor did. Fucking hell. But yeah, I'm going to wrap things up now, and because of obviously the news has come out, we're waiting for confirmation if they're going ahead of it. I'm going to do the review and player ratings tomorrow instead, just in case.
Yes. Yeah, because you may need to be having a say on that, mate. And I'm sure there are loads of people. And if you are out there, people, smash the likes and subscribe, because Ryan puts a lot of time and effort into his stuff, his content that he puts out there. And I'm sure he's going to want to have his say on the European, not so Super League.
Not so Super League, exactly. Yeah. Oh dear, but Warren, where can people find you if you want to be found on your social media and all that?
Yeah, normally I'm on Twitter causing all sorts of panic, and if you really can be bothered to read my weird ramblings or whatever, but if you do want to find me, normally on Facebook as Warren JG.
And yeah, with that, I mean, I wish it was a fucking better game than earlier, but it wasn't. But Leicester are through for the FA Cup final to win it for the first time in their history against Chelsea. The 8 or 7 times winners. They're 7-time winners.
7 or 8, yeah.
Something like that. Chelsea will be red hot favourites based on that little bit of history there, but anything could happen in the final. We're going to see if Leicester can build on their league title win 2016 or not.
Got a feeling Mr. Vardy might just show up for that game.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't show up today, but he probably show up for that game.
Against Thiago Silva. All right then.
Yeah, absolutely no problem, Colonel. Absolutely no problem. We'll be back again. I'm trying to think. Wednesday for the match the match preview on Wednesday for the Everton game, and the match Watchalong on Friday night, and then the review on Saturday. And then we'll go from there, basically. And also, in between all that, I've got to fit in a quiz at some point. And once I know, you guys will know straight away. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'll see you later on in the week. And as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, guys.